Good afternoon and welcome to the May 23rd, 2024 regular board meeting of the Sunshine Coast Regional District. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 1:07 p.m. and acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is within the territory of the Sechelt and Squamish First Nations. First order of business is we adopt the agenda, and we have an amended agenda before us. A motion to adopt, Director.
I want to amend it one more time.
Sorry, we got to amend it one more time?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to amend it one more time to remove director's reports this meeting because the agenda is quite lengthy today.
Do I have a seconder? Yes, we have a seconder. Any discussion? No? All in favor? Any opposed? Director Bax is opposed. Oh, well. Okay. So we now have an amended agenda. So we've accepted that, haven't we? We're done that?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. We're now on to the minutes. And the first item of minutes is number 2, regular board meeting minutes of May 9th, 2024, which is Annex A, pages 4 to 9. Directors, is there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept them? Yes, Director Toss, seconded by Director Gabius. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed this time. On to item number 3, which is special board meeting minutes of May 16th, 2024, Annex B, pages 10 and 11. I have motion to adopt the minutes as presented. Director Toth, do I have a seconder? Director McMahon. Any discussion? None. I'll call the motion, the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Okay. We're now on to business arising from minutes and unfinished business. Directors, would any of you like to raise any from the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on. No presentations and delegations. We're now on to reports. We're number 4, which is Committee of the Whole meeting recommendations 1 to 10 of May 9th, 2024. Let me catch up here with my little notes. Before we adopt the recommendations in a block, would any directors like to pull any of the recommendations? Hearing none, motion to adopt. Director Toth, seconded by Director Bax. Thank you. No discussions. Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's done. Item number 5, Special Electoral Area Services Committee meeting, grant and aid recommendations number 1 of May 16th, 2024, which is Annex D, pages 16 to 17. Director McMahon, please.
Yes, we didn't do this at the meeting, so I'd like to move that we schedule a grant and aid debrief session on or before June the 20th.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Yes. Director Stanford. Any discussions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Now, we need to adopt the recommendations in that. Recommendation number 1, motion to adopt that recommendation. Director McMahon, any seconder? Director Gabius, any discussions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Okay, we've now got an addition. It's 5A, and it's to add the Committee of the Whole Meeting Recommendations number 1 of May 23rd, 2024. Can I have a motion to adopt that recommendation? Director Toth,
Yep.
seconded by Director Bax. Is there any discussion on this one? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Okay, we're now moving on to item 6, which are staff reports. Let me just get a minute while I catch up with my little electronic here. It's Annex E. Got the wrong one open, wouldn't you know it?
Just turn over the GM.
Yeah, I want to get mine open here. There we go. Annex E. Okay. General Manager, Community Service, Ms. Gagnon, would you like to introduce this for us?
Thank you, Chair. I don't have an introduction to the report. It's a report you see every year. It comes forward, a standard process in terms of you approved the draft AOA through your budgeting process, and because of the timelines with fiscal years, the final AOA doesn't make it to us until right about now, so it's in front of you today, and there weren't any material differences, so we don't feel there's any need for a financial plan amendment. But I did want to take the opportunity to just highlight the announcement that was made in a verbal presentation back in March when Mr. Ringma was here from BC Transit, and we were discussing the custom transit review at the time. And he had just gotten word from the province around their expansion approvals. And as you are well aware of, but I'll take this opportunity publicly, the number of requests for transit expansion this year were enormously more than they've ever received in the past. And of course, that's probably due to the fact that there were no expansions during the 3 years of COVID. And so this is a real big backlog now in terms of transit services trying to catch up. So unfortunately, they were in the difficult position in that they didn't get as much funding as they did have requests. So they did have to go through an evaluation process and make some very tough decisions. So the Sunshine Coast Transit System was approved for our custom transit expansion, but not for our conventional transit expansion. Now, the conventional transit expansion wasn't supposed to begin until January of 2025, so there are no financial plan impacts at this year, and we will make the appropriate adjustments when we come into financial planning for next year. But I did want to highlight that there will be, as part of our annual expansion process, there will be a report later on in June coming forward again, as it does every year at that time, to talk about what expansion priorities the board wants to entertain for the next 3 years. And so I imagine we'll use that opportunity to just do a bit of a refresh and bring that conventional transit expansion forward, as well as years 2 and years 3. And that report, as I mentioned, will be coming to the board later in June. Thank you. And I'm here to answer any questions about the AOA that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, directors have got some questions. Whoops, Director White. No. Oh, Director McMahon.
Oh, all right. I was just, this is not directly on the AOA. I was just going to make the suggestion that when we have the meeting in June to talk about transit, that we talk about planning, because there is in our transit future plan a new route called Route 5 that does not yet exist. And we haven't had a new route on the Sunshine Coast in a very long time. And when I mentioned this to my community association, there was a whole lot of interest. So there's a lot of people who would like to talk about what this route would look like and where it would go. And so I'm interested in knowing what sort of a public process we go through to plan new routes. Thank you.
Was there any, that was just a comment? Yes. Okay. Director White.
I support this really reluctantly because we have to do it, but I just want to express extreme disappointment in the fact the province did not sufficiently fund BC Transit for expansion plans to province-wide. We were given a lot of hope and assurance, well, not assurance, but a lot of hope going in that because our ridership had come back, that we'd finally get a frequency increase. And it's really, really demoralizing, because what's the point of even doing all this long-term planning if we can't even get step one, which we've been trying to do for years now? And I think it's a real letdown from the provincial government, and there's an election coming, and I hope to see it be a provincial issue, because the government's constantly talking about climate change. They're talking even more about housing and trying to pressure all communities, regardless of the size, to increase housing. And we can't do it if we don't have transit. We need this transit expansion. And so I'm supporting this because we have to do it, but we really need to do some advocacy, and it's not in it because the province clearly isn't understanding that if they want to meet their priorities about housing and climate change, they need to support transit in communities like ours. So I'll move it.
Agreed. So you're going to move the motion as recommended on page 18. Okay. Do I have a seconder for that? Yes. Director McMahon? Okay. Now, Director Inkster?
Yeah, just a question about, thank you, Chair. Just a question about that. When I hear mayors of municipalities express concern over things like that, do we have a process whereby I would obviously say to Mayor White to write a letter, I'm assuming he'll maybe do that as mayor, to encourage them to continue funding. That's what we do. And I'm wondering if we would. I mean, that's part of the, perhaps there's a process, but I think, to continue to have additional funding. I mean, I'm looking at routes in West Seashelt as an example that I'd love to see funding for, and it's in a couple of years, but how do we continue to talk about that and make sure that it's on their radar? And there is an election coming, thanks.
That would be a subsequent motion, I believe. If we decide to do that, we need to, I don't see a need to amend the motion the way it's made right now. We could entertain a subsequent motion to send a letter if that's what the directors would like. Is that everybody okay with that one? Okay, Director Bax?
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Director White has said about the lack of assistance that I think our community deserves. And I remind the directors that we do have a meeting with our MLA in the morning. We can express our interest in passing word along to the provincial government about this. And I know that there are a lot of people outside of our organization that are working to try to figure out how to create better transit on the Sunshine Coast. The Seniors Transportation Work Group and other people that are working very hard on trying to find solutions for these issues. We need a coast-wide ferry-to-ferry transportation route, and it's sadly lacking.
Boy, do I agree with that one. Yes. I see no further hands up, so I'll call the vote on the original motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Don't see any hands up for a subsequent motion, though. Okay. So we then will move on to Annex F, which is RFP 2465004, Design and Professional Services Development of Community Hall Contract Award, Annex F, pages 22, 23. And we have Manager of Asset Management, Mr. Doyle. Could you introduce this to us, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to introduce the next two because they're closely related. Today, we're excited to be here, introducing the award reports for the contracts for the Half Moon Bay Hall project. It's long awaited. There are two reports on the agenda. The first one here is the contract for the design and professional services. I think that's fairly straightforward. The next one you'll see is the contract for the construction management and construction services. I expect there may be some questions about the second one, specifically the award report asks for a budget of $2.7 million. This is a CCDC 5B contract we're looking to enter into with the proponent. So they will be delivering not just the construction management services, but they'll be responsible for the construction services as well. This type of contract is known as a construction management at risk or a construction manager as constructor contract. Under this type of contract, the construction manager's role extends beyond just providing their services. They'll be responsible for hiring the trade contractors and managing the performance throughout the project. The construction manager will pay those sub-trades directly and will submit claims to the SCRD to be reimbursed from that $2.7 million budget. These are fairly common contracts, and they are beneficial for projects where cost and time constraints are issues, and they do allow us to have good control over the budget. If there are any questions about the reports, I'm happy to answer them.
Yes, Director Gabius, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'll first move the recommendations as listed on page 22. Okay, awesome. And then I have a few questions.
Just hang on, I'm whipping back to page 22. Okay. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Yes, Director Back's got his hand up quite quick. So the question's on a different one. So did you want to comment on the motion, or did you want to make another motion for the second one? In other words, are you commenting on
The first one.
page 22?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The first item. Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm wondering if there will be some consultation with the community when it comes to the design of the hall. Any opportunity for the community to provide some feedback on the design before it's finalized? And also, if I could just tag two together, could the final design be presented to our accessibility committee for input?
Manager Doyle?
Thank you, through the chair, for the question. The contract for the design of the hall and the professional services included a requirement for the provision of a minimum of two conceptual designs. So we will be able to take those out and engage the public with them if that's desired. We did intend to have touchback points throughout the process.
I think there was a second part to that question.
Yes, to refer this to our newly formed accessibility committee for comment.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. I believe that would be possible. Accessibility requirements for this project, not only the SCRD requirements, but the grant requirements are quite stringent, so I expect it should be no concerns, but.
I was just waiting a sec to see if Director Gabius has any more questions on this one. Yes, Corporate Officer.
I just want to clarify the mandate of the Accessibility Committee, which has not had their inaugural meeting as of yet, I will add. So their primary mandate is not to really provide comment on referrals from the regional district. They will be tasked with developing a regional plan. And within that plan, they may want to contemplate topics such as this, but I'm not sure it would be appropriate for us to actually refer something to them for comment to the board for their decision-making.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Seeing no more hands up, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. So we will move on down to the next one, which is Annex G, page 24. Give everybody a time to get down there. Directors, do you have any further questions on Annex G? Yes, Director McMahon, please.
Do I remember correctly that Summerhill did the work on Grantham's Hall renovation? I'm just mentioning that because I at least heard a lot of positive comments from the community on the quality of the work. So that's nice.
Yes, I've heard the name before, but I think it was with docks. They did some work on docks for us as well. Director Gabius, please.
Thank you, Chair, and that's very nice to hear. And I guess I should say, nice to see you, Manager Doyle. It's been a long time. And thank you to staff and for all the work, and to the board for the support. I know this has been a long and winding road for this community hall. It is with some trepidation that I see it like finally coming to the board. It's a big budget for, I would say not a huge building. And I'm wondering if there is a strategy in place for cost containment, or make sure that we're not going over budget, or like hopefully go under budget. Any input from staff would be great.
Manager Doyle.
Yeah, thank you for the question through the chair. Absolutely, cost containment is a focus on this project. The budget is likely sufficient. We're comfortable with what we have. The format of the contract is we have a design professional services team and the construction manager, and they will work together through the design process to make sure that the design is as buildable as possible. So the construction manager's role in that process will be provide input on local labor forces, material, supplies, and make sure the design doesn't get too ambitious. And so that's one of the main cost controls. And I think that we'll be able to keep it in budget, no problem.
Thank you. I don't see any more questions. I think we need a motion then for the recommendations on page 24. Yes. Director Gabius.
I can make that motion.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Yes. Director McMahon. Any further discussions? I see your hand up, Director Gabius.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions, obviously, in the community, especially the neighboring homes. And I'm assuming that the Let's Talk page will be monitored frequently, and that people can ask questions there, and that there'll be a strong communication strategy for this project. I'm going to hope that I'm correct.
I think Manager Doyle has his work cut out for him for us. Yes. Okay, I see no more hands up, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Thank you very much. Flipping the page. Moving on to Annex H, item number 9, which is the Gibson's West House Sound Fire Protection Pumper Apparatus Replacement Project Alternative Approval Process. And it's Annex H, page 27 to 30. And Corporate Officer Reed, I believe, will introduce this to us.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to actually initiate the alternative approval process for loan authorization bylaw number 765, which is to seek elector approval for borrowing to fund the Gibson's West House Sound Fire Protection Service fire truck. So the bylaw has been read 3 times, and it is currently with the Inspector of Municipalities. Once I receive formal approval, we will be moving forward with the process. And a timeline schedule has been provided on page 30 of the agenda package.
Thank you very much. Director Bax.
Yes, I understand the bylaw's been read 3 times, but I don't have it in front of me. Do these things usually have a dollar value attached to them? I don't see anything that, I know they're very expensive.
My recollection is that the dollar amount is up to, it's an up to amount of 1.7 million.
Thank you. Director McMahon?
My recollection was 1.5 because some of it was coming from reserves, but never mind. I'm happy to move the recommendations on page 27.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Director Stanford? Thank you. Director Toth?
Thank you, Chair. It's just a quick question. In the bottom of page 29, attachment B is referenced here. Is this something critical that we need to be seeing as part of this process?
Yes,
Move to take 5.
can we recess, please?
Sorry?
I need approval of the form in this meeting today. Can we just recess, and I will bring it forward, and the
Okay,
directors can have it in
then
front
I
of them.
propose to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the SCRD Board meeting of May 23rd, 2024. And we're on Annex H. And I will call on our corporate officer to explain about our little 5-minute delay here. Corporate officer, please.
Thank you, Chair. So the board now has in front of them attachment B, which should have been in the agenda package but was omitted inadvertently by staff. So the request now would be that the board adopt the elector response form as amended. And the amendment I would like to point out, which is correct in the staff report, it's the 10% threshold, which is 845 electors. And at the very bottom of the elector response form, we have amended that number to reflect the accurate threshold for elector responses, which is 845 electors.
Thank you very much. Director Toth?
So I guess I'd need to make a motion to amend the motion that's on the floor to change recommendation 3 from approved as presented to approved as amended.
Okay.
Correct.
Seconder, Director Inkster. Any further discussions? Everybody understand what we're voting on? So we're going to vote on the amendment. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. So we now have an amended recommendation on page 27. Can I have a motion to,
You've already got it on the floor.
have I got it on the floor now?
Sure did. That's
Oh,
why
it's
I amended
amended. Yes, indeed. We're there. Thank you, Director Toth. Any discussions on that? No? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes. We're now moving on to item number 10, which is the 2023 Sunshine Coast Regional District SRD Corporate Annual Report, Annex I, pages 31 to 153. And General Manager, Corporate Services, and Chief Financial Officer. Ms. Perot, please, could you introduce this to us?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is, happy to present the 2023 annual report for the Sunshine Coast Regional District. And of course, this is a retrospective document that provides an update to the community as far as our milestones, successes, accomplishments, and of course, our financial status. It also is part of what contributes towards the Government Finance Officer's Annual Reporting Award that we received for several years. And we contribute to that award just for peer review to improve our processes and how we report, because that's an international process. And so we like to see best practices throughout North America and like to incorporate those from year to year. So not a statutory requirement for regional districts to accept the annual report. However, it is, again, best practice. So thank you to all the team who have contributed, especially the SLT and all their staff. Thank you.
I'd like to say congratulations. It's quite an achievement, and it's becoming routine, which is in itself awesome. Awesome team. Thank you. Director McMahon?
Yes, I always enjoy the graphs and charts. The one on page 143 is sort of interesting. I don't remember seeing that last year, but it compares the total assessment values between the municipal areas and the rural areas. And actually, I thought it was pretty interesting because I thought the municipal values might have been higher relative to the rural areas, but it looks like thanks to, I don't know, probably waterfront property in areas A and F particularly, we still have a whole lot of property value.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? No, I don't see any hands up. I would entertain a motion on the recommendation. Yes, Director Toth. Do I have a seconder? Yes, Director McMahon. Any further questions? No? No comments? No? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That passes. Thank you, Ms. I was going to say Tina. I can't say that. Thank you, Mrs. Perot. We're down to number 11, which is placement of notice on title. It's Annex J. And we have, yes, J.M. Hall and Mr. Kennett, our chief building official, who are going to introduce these for us.
Thank you, Chair. Same report as we bring forward every month. If there are properties for which notice on title is recommended, there are 2 this month. And as you noted, we have our chief building official with us if there are questions on the files. Thank you.
Directors, do you have any questions? Darn, you're all here and we got no questions.
Are there any representatives from the owners?
Is there any representatives from the owners that would like to talk to this? Don't see anything. Is there anything on?
Somebody online, but they're not raising their hand.
Okay,
I guess not.
so I would like to make a motion to accept the recommendations as presented on page 154. Do I have a seconder? Yes, Director Toth. Any questions, comments? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. Yes, GM Hall?
Chair, I do note that a hand was just raised in the virtual gallery.
Oh, we have a hand raised in the virtual gallery. Could we have, who is that?
Smith Road? I don't know.
Could we have the person with their hands up? Yes. Elsa Smith Rowe. Yes. I think we have you in the gallery. No? Gone.
I suspect this is a Zoom bombing attempt.
Okay.
We're gonna move on.
So we haven't voted on it yet.
Yeah, we did vote on this.
Did we vote on this already? Yes, we did. Okay, we'll move on then. Thank you, JM.
That's nice. No. Yeah, this is a Zoom bombing, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yep.
There is a hand up again. Shall we just
No,
ignore it?
keep moving.
Okay. Okay, so we're moving on to Annex K, our communications. Manuel Machado, Chief Administrative Officer, Town of Gibsons, dated May 13th, 2024. Annex K, page 157. There is a request for a letter of support for the Spring 2024 Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, Disaster Risk Reduction, Climate Adaptation. I think we'll need a motion. Yes, Director McMahon?
Yes, I'm moving that we send a letter of support for this fund application on behalf of the town of Gibsons.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Inkster.
Yes, Director Inkster? Ah, I see you. I should be looking this way. Yeah. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Okay, we move on to Annex L, page 158. let me see how we want to handle this. We have submitted placeholders for the CAO and for myself to put our names forward to be on the committee. They're only looking for 10 people. Whether we would make it or not is another matter. Is there any directors, any other directors that would like to attend this, put their name forward? Yes, Director Bax?
So can you tell me how long it is for?
December 31st, 2025.
December 31st, 2025. That's, the committee's going to go through till then?
That's what it says here.
Yes, starting in summer 2024 and extending to December 31st, 2025.
All right, I'll put my name forward.
Okay?
Question, Chair.
Yes?
Thank you. We'd actually discussed in agenda review as well whether there was another member of staff that might be more appropriate for this committee than the CAO. So I just wonder if staff had any other conversations amongst themselves.
Acting CAO, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, staff had a discussion about this particular initiative, and most certainly, I think the names have already been put forward based on the deadline. So it was discussed in the sense of seeing whether or not we're selected, and then we can always alter the names at that particular time, because I believe that those two names have already been submitted. So maybe from a procedural perspective, let's just wait, and I think there'll always be an administrative ability to amend the names, and then we can address it that way. So taking who the names of the board, I think, is important today. And then from a staff perspective, that can be flexible depending on what the scope of the project is going to look like, because it looks very much related to regulations. And so not necessarily topic-based. So once we know clearly more what is entailed, and again, just also identifying that we've just been recruiting for our new senior manager of protective services. And so again, that might be an appropriate individual to appoint as well. So let's just see if we get selected, and then we can address it there.
Directors, would that meet your requirements? Okay, that's what we'll go forward with then. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Pearl. Okay, thank you. We're moving on to bylaw number 14, which is Annex M. And it's the West Howe Sound Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 640.6 of 2024. And it is for first reading. Can I have a motion for first reading? Yes. Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Yes, thank you. Any discussion? Does Director Stamford made the motion, Director McMahon seconded it for 10 minutes? Good. Okay, then I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? That's good. We got that done. Huh? What exactly happened? Did I miss it?
No, you're good.
Okay. No vote is a positive vote.
I don't vote on it.
Oh, okay.
It's electoral area directors
Oh,
only.
it was only electoral areas. I better put up my hand. Okay, now I understand. So now we're moving on to 15, which is Annex N, pages 163 to 168. And it's the Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 722.10 of 2024. And this one is for first reading. And I note it's for the electoral area directors, 1 vote each. Can I have a motion for first reading? Yes, Director Stamford. Can I have a seconder? Yes, Director McMahon. Any discussions? Seeing none, we'll vote on it. All in favor? Any opposed? That carried. We now move to Annex O, which is item 16. It wasn't updated, and it's Sunshine Coast Regional District zoning amendment, bylaw number 337.123 of 2023, and this is for second reading. Can I have a motion for second reading, please? Director Stamford, seconded by Director Gabius. Any further discussions? Yes, Director McMahon, please.
Just wondering when the public hearing will be scheduled and whether we need to select the chair.
GM Hall.
Through the chair, thank you for the question. The date will be scheduled in coordination with the previously selected chair and alternate chair. And I apologize, I cannot remember who the committee selected.
I think it was Kate. Anyway,
We'll look that up. It's been handled. Okay. Did we vote on that? I know we made a motion and we seconded. We haven't voted yet. Okay, any further discussion? Don't see any. All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes. We're on to item 17 now, which again is a replacement page, and it's Sunshine Coast Regional District zoning amendment bylaw number 722.9 of 2023. And this is for second reading. It's Annex P, pages 172 to 173, and it's elected electoral area directors again. Motion for second reading. Director Stamford, seconded by somebody. Oh, yes. Director Gabius. Any discussions on this one? No, seeing none. Call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. Oh. We're now down to number 18, which is Sunshine Coast Regional District zoning amendment bylaw number 722.6, 2023. It's Annex Q, pages 174 to 177. This is voting electoral area directors, and it is for adoption of that bylaw. Can I have a motion to adopt the bylaw? Yes, Director Stamford, seconded by Director McMahon. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? None opposed? That passes. Oh, gee. We're on to number 19 now, which is Annex R. This is item 19, Annex R, pages 178. And it's Sunshine Coast Regional District Board Procedures Amendment bylaw number 717.4 of 2024, and it is for adoption, and this one is voting all directors, one vote each. Can I have a motion for adoption?
Yep, so
Yes, Director Toss, seconded by Director McMahon. Any discussion? No, everybody gets to vote. All in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. We're going to have a new record.
well, yeah, I'm gonna derail you.
Oh, darn. Okay, we're into item number 20, which is Annex S, pages 179 to 186. And it's Community Recreation Facilities Fees and Charges bylaw number 766 of 2024. It's for adoption, and the voting is a weighted vote of B2, D2, E2, F2, and C shell
No, it's not.
with 6. And Director Toth has a comment.
Isn't this voting all, or at least the town of Gibson's should be in this, because it's community recreation? Told you I'd derail you.
Yes, please add SNGD as well as Town of Gibson's to the voting. Everyone except Area A on the, on number 20.
Okay, thank you. So
I
we
know,
now
I thought
know
we amended that.
that everybody but me gets to vote on it. Director White is here on Zoom, so Director Toss move an adoption. Do I have a seconder? Yes, Director Gabius. Do we have any further discussions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. It was unanimous. Thank you.
This one's gonna be messy too.
Thank you, Director Toth. So we'll move to item number 21, which is Annex T, and it's Pender Harbor Aquatic and Fitness Center fees and charges, bylaw number 767, 2024, and it is for adoption.
All directors.
I believe it should be all directors because it's just Area A that's in the function. So this will be all directors. Okay, can I have a motion for adoption, please?
Sure.
Director McMahon and seconded by Director Toth. Any discussions? No? Call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Thank you. No directors' reports. No new business. A motion, I'll need a motion that we go in camera, that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 91A, C, and I of the Community Charter. Can I have that motion? Yes, Director Toss, seconded by Director Gabius. Any discussions? No? All in favor? Thank you. Now, we shall find if we have, there's nobody in the gallery, but I believe we have some in the virtual gallery. So if anybody in the virtual gallery would like to ask a question, please raise your hand.
And if not, please log in.
Okay, if you don't have any questions then, could you please log out? Thank you. Okay. Welcome back to the board meeting of May 23rd, 2024. The last item of business is an adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Director Toss, seconded by Director McMahon. No discussions? All in favor? No, none opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you.